Hexagons are an incredibly popular shape right now, and sometimes can seem a little intimidating for someone to cut. But the hexagon cutting ruler by Easy Quilter will make them as simple as they can be to cut. This particular ruler allows us to cut 5 different sizes of hexagons, from a 1-inch finish height all the way up to a 5-inch finish height from the same ruler. By cutting different widths of strips, which are shown by the solid lines on the grid, we can then cut different sizes of hexagons, which is showed by the dotted line. In the cutting instructions that come with the ruler, we've got a quick and easy demonstration of how to cut, but I want to show you how to do that today so you can see how easy it really is to cut with the Hexagon ruler by Easy Quilting. We start out with our strip of fabric already cut in 4.5 inches. And what I'm going to be doing is lining up the 4.5-inch cut line at the top of my cut strip and also at the bottom of my cut strip, making sure that this tip right here is on the fabric. I like to position a couple fingers onto the cutting mat for security. Like to put the heel of my hand down and then the rest of my fingers on the grid to hold it in place. We're actually going to be making 2 cuts here. One angling up and the other one angling back along the ruler. And I'm going to pull this away just to make sure that we've got a good cut. Now we're going to flip this piece of fabric around. Back with our ruler, we're going to line up again with the 4.5-inch cut line at the top of the strip and at the bottom of the strip, and then positioning the solid line for the 4.5-inch cut on our already cut edge. And that's why it was important to make sure that we had this over onto the fabric so that when we go to cut this tip off, we're able to get a full hexagon. Positioning my hand in place to hold the grid, going to cut up and away with 2 cuts. Always make sure you use safe cutting practices when using a rotary cutter. And now we have our perfectly cut 4-inch finish hexagon. Let's go through that again. We're going to line up our 4.5-inch cut at the top edge of the strip and at the bottom edge of the strip, making sure that we have this tip positioned onto the fabric. We're going to cut up, cut just a little bit past the tip. Second cut up here. And if we want to make things cut speedier, go ahead and cut another one, moving right down your strip, lining up with the 4.5-inch cut solid line, making sure that tip is covered. And we'll cut again. And we're ready for our third cut here. Lining up everything with the solid line, 4.5-inch cut there, solid line here, making sure that this tip is on the fabric. And you can see how easy it is if you don't get this ruler positioned exactly right and your fingers securing it off the grid. And we're going to do that final 2 cuts. And then we can flip these around and do all of our trim cuts at the same time. Lining up the solid line for the 4.5-inch cut with the already cut edge. And a neat thing about this is you can't really line up any of the other ones. You obviously see if you're on the wrong size. So we'll just line that up. Trim those off. Line them up and trim them off. And we're lining up this one, 4.5 inch cut top and bottom. The tip is right along the cut edge. And with 2 quick cuts, we have another perfect hexagon. Using this for any size works well. If you enjoy making tiny mosaics and using the little bitty hexagons, I have a 1.5 inch finished strip. And we're going to line this up. Perfect for your grandma's flower gardens that you may be hand piecing as a take with you project while traveling or waiting for appointments. Same process as we did with the 4.5 inch cut. We line up the 1.5 inch cut top and bottom on the strip, making sure that that tip is on the fabric. Couple quick cuts, flip it around, and we'll trim those final edges. And we've got perfect tiny little 1 inch finished hexagons that we can arrange for a grandmother's flower garden style. Each side is precision cut perfectly so that they will line up nicely. Lots and lots of hexagon patterns available for you to work with. With the larger cuts that we already made, we can come up with some really cool patterns if we pair those with triangles. Using the darker triangles as a setting triangle. We can create countless designs. As you can see, the possibilities are endless with the hexagons, especially when we're pairing them with an equilateral triangle and coming up with lots of beautiful patterns and designs. I hope you have as much fun using the hexagon cutting grid by Easy Quilter as I did. Definitely a tool that I want to add to my quilting toolbox, and lots of neat patterns out there that I've already got tagged that I want to make with it.